were very lucky with goalkeepers, and so this was difficult. Yeah, I mean, Phil Parkes, I mean, that's to be the West Ham choice. He was absolutely awesome. Our physio, Rob Jenkins, always had a bit of brandy in his flask, and so Phil knew that, and so he had a little swig of that. Almost for luck, he said. I mean, Clem works for me at the FA, so he'll be mortified when I tell him that I picked Schultz. But Schultz was a fanatical trainer. He was one of those that yelled and shouted if you scored against him, and he was mortified. Schultz was an outstanding goalkeeper and probably deserves with 120 caps to be in my starting 11. So I've got Bonzo as a right back. Billy Bonds, swashbuckling, we always used to call him a bit of a musketeer with his beard and his long locks. Then, to be fair, luckily for me, he was too good to be wasted at right back. Everyone thought he was my protector, really, that if anyone started kicking me, then Bill used to sort them out for 5 minutes. But Bill was a lot better than that. I mean, he was a quality footballer. Bonzo was Mr. Reliable, inspirational captain, a legend, and one of the most genuine individuals I have ever met. The central defence, let's start, I suppose, with the two with Bobby Moore. Yeah, it has to be Bobby. It was very sad that we lost him so young, really, 20 years ago. But as I say, that reputation and legendary status, certainly as far as West Ham is concerned, I think gets stronger as each year goes by. Even when I was a youngster, before I joined the club, I can remember I had a couple of bits of treatment off Rob Jenkins, our physio. Bobby always was there on a Sunday morning lapping, and I said to him, well, why is he coming on a Sunday? Oh, he said he's here relentlessly. So they play on the Saturday, he goes out, has a nice, social meal, drink, but on Sunday morning, he's always there lapping and sweating out with his sweatsuit tracksuit, which was a good little lesson as a schoolboy. I thought, well, okay, it's not bad for England captain and West Ham captain to be doing that. The partner alongside is a tough one. I decided to include Alvin Martin. He got a handful of England caps. Stretch, pace could have been a query, but then it was a pace with Bob and me and Frank and whoever, but we read the game well enough, and Alvin, but he did often, when we say stretch, just get a toe end in intercept. Now the left backs, somebody only got, a bit like Phil, only one England cap was Frank Lampard. Frank came through our youth system, which was pretty strong status for the last 20 or 30 years. Although he was more right-footed, played a lot of his career left back, but he was consistent. He was as hard as nails. He had that volley that he could always hit a good shot just outside the penalty area. So that's the back four and the keeper. Well, in midfield, you had to include the World Cup trio. Martin, of course, was one of those that did score a lot of goals during his career, but unfortunately for him, probably during that World Cup scenario, he was always the third of those three. Bob is the captain and Mr. Impeccable, because he was such a smart dresser, Bob, and whatever. No one roomed with him in the end because they didn't want to upset the room that was so meticulously tidy, because he folded and hung up everything, Bob. Jeff then, of course, got the hat-trick, and Martin really was that third, which was unfair because he became key player then wherever he went in the other clubs. Alongside Martin, Ray Wilkins. We had a really good understanding. He was a great passer of the ball, really good leader. Actually, we started rooming with him early on, and then I ended up going with Kevin Keegan, and our rooms were a tip. Ray was a great character. I got on really well, and I think has to be in my team. On the left is pretty easy. It was another West Hammer, and he'd have been in anyway, and that's out in Devonshire. I mean, he and I had just developed a fantastic understanding. He had an electrifying pace that you just thought as a defender you were going to get him, and then he got away from you, and he was off and flying, and you couldn't catch him. On the other side, Mick Shannon, really. I mean, Mick, with his windmill celebration whenever he scored, he was, again, really strong character, a very bubbly individual, loved nothing better than scoring, moaned and groaned on the pitch and about things off it, but he was somebody who you'd want in your starting 11. So we're back into our two front men. One had to be Jeff Hurst. I joined the club in '65, made my debut in '67, and we played up at Burnley, who were a really good side in those days. We drew 3-3, and one of the most outstanding things I always remember, the three goal scorers for us were Moore, Peters and Hurst, which was pretty good. He had that ability to chest shield it, pump the old cheeks as he was running along, and really a strong attacking person to get on the end of crosses. And then the one playing in the hole, my England captain for most of the time, Kevin Keegan. The England nickname I had was down to Kevin. We had about 6 or 7 Liverpool lads, and we used to meet up on a Sunday night. And that stage, there was a series on TV called Hadley, and Gerald Harper was the lead person. He was a sort of a noble English gentleman down south who had this estate and everything, and used to do stocks and shares. And then thought, whenever we met up, how's the stocks and shares had and all that. But Kev was fantastic, great captain, bubbly character. You know, he did all sorts of things. I mean, he got a top 10 hit. The lads slaughtered him, but I mean, he just bounced off him. That's the 11 really takes some beating.